Today on Great Places Seen, Santee State Park is my first stop on a nearly 7,000-mile cross-country road trip south and west. We visit beautiful Lake Marion, marvel at the abundant Spanish moss, while crossing bridges and treks through forested paths, avoiding pitfalls, and meeting some of South Carolina's interesting locals. Grab a snack, have a look, and saddle up. We're about to hit the road and the trails.
Good morning from Santee State Park in South Carolina. Just off of I-95 heading south on my trip. I'll be here for a full day today, which is good because I can get some things done with the trailer, like flush out the antifreeze from the lines and clean things up a little bit, set things up a little bit for my trip. And also I have a full day to partially explore this park. The drive down was much better than I had expected. Still about 9 hours for a little over 500 miles. But all the ice that came down from the storm overnight was pretty much gone by the time I got to southern Virginia, through North Carolina, northern portions of South Carolina. You just couldn't tell there had even been an ice storm. And plus, being the weekend, traffic was light, which was good. Still, there were a few slow areas, a few areas for construction, which was not taking place, of course, but the ride down was pretty nice. So here I am in warmer temperatures. It does go slightly below freezing at night, but that's not an issue. And as I continue on, it's going to get a little bit warmer. I did not check in at the park last night as I arrived at about 7 p.m. It was dark, not a problem setting up. All I did was hook up electric anyway. So first order of business after breakfast, I'll go by the park office. It's just down the road off of the campground. And I'll let them know I'm here. Get whatever pass I need for the car. And then enjoy the day. I'm fortunate today. The weather appears to be very, very nice.
Daylight shows me I did okay for a quick last-minute reservation. With only a map to rely on, I ended up in a good site. There's water access, nice views, and no immediate neighbors, so it's very quiet and private. Let's be honest, it's also a Sunday in mid-January, so not that many campers are here. But weather-wise, nice compared to what I left. And check out all the Spanish moss in the trees. I don't see that in D.C., so it feels like an unusual treat to have all around. Sort of analogous to Southerners in snow. You know, people in warmer regions don't get much, if any, and always seem to be enchanted by even trace amounts. While this backdrop is common for local residents, I'm definitely enjoying a change of scenery. It's Sunday morning, and most of my neighbors, if not all, are weekend campers, and they're starting to roll. I will also be on the roll today. Now the bike is all set up. Let's head to the office and then hit the trail. Once again, I have forgotten my bike helmet. I think I need to leave a spare one in the trailer. So forgive me for not riding with a helmet, but I will be extra careful. It turns out I didn't need to do anything at the office. I guess because this is a slow, laid-back time of the year. But what I did get from my stop here was a great view across part of Lake Marion, the largest in South Carolina. It's home to a swamp ecosystem with plenty of cypress trees found in similar areas you've probably seen from here across to Louisiana and Texas. These are long-living and extremely sturdy trees, similar to the big redwoods, and help protect surrounding areas during floods, huge storms, even hurricanes. These are dormant for winter, but they'll green up again very soon, Spring is just around the corner in the south. And of course, the shore is flanked by large trees draped with Spanish moss. Yeah, I'm a bit infatuated by it. The moss isn't parasitic to the trees. It just uses the branches for support and gathers nutrients from the air. Its weight can break branches, but it's otherwise harmless. For me, an interesting curiosity. What a great time to be here. Blue sky, no crowds, just a wide open space to enjoy all to myself. Well, and of course share it with you. Let's ride down to the pier and check out the lake up close. I have a feeling I'm going to have prime parking today. Let's see what the welcome sign says. We're in Santee State Park today. It's located on Lake Marion, and it's one of the larger and more diverse and popular facilities in the South Carolina State Park Service. It's 2,500 acres, and it opened all the way back in 1949 in the heart of Santee Cooper country. And it's since been the headquarters for some legendary fishing and hunting, as well as boating and bird watching out here on the lake. Lake Marion is known for its beautiful and pristine swamps. Between Lakes Marion and Moultrie, 170,000 acres of landlocked striped bass fishing is available here, and the lakes also have more recently become famous for very large catfish. The park has traditional camping, unique rondettes cabins, both lakefront and also on piers over the lake, with 2 boat ramps, a fishing pier, and also a park store. There's a community center here, picnic shelters, hiking and biking trails, and something really cool in this park, a state heritage trust site protecting limestone sinkhole caverns and the rare bats that inhabit them. I don't know how many bats are flying out here in January, but we're definitely going to check out the sinkholes. You can't fish from the pier, but you can use it to hop into your boat and find a great secret spot farther out, or just take in the view from here. There's a little chill on the water, but no wind to speak of today. Other than an occasional boat, it's very quiet. You would never know a major highway is so close by.
Very clear water here.
Well, mostly clear. Let's see what else is in the park. It's very large, and the bike is perfect for a one-day exploration. I'm heading down the road to a long hiking and biking trail, which, judging by the campground and parking lots, should also be almost all to myself. What a treat. I may come across some deer. If so, we'll see if they're anywhere near here and following the posted sign. I'm riding the Priority 600X Adventure bicycle, perfect for trails and, of course, the road. It features a Gates carbon belt that needs no lubrication, just a proper amount of tension to last 3 times longer than a chain. It's driven by a pinion gearbox, designed by a couple of former Porsche engineers. Since it's completely enclosed, dirt, mud, snow, grime don't affect it. And it has a 600% gear ratio, so I can tackle extremely steep hills if need be. With Wren suspension and Goodyear tires, I'm going to be rolling well on this trip.
Here we go for the biking trail. A little over 7 miles long. I was told at the visitor center that this was pretty much a trail through the woods. There weren't very many things to see along here, but that's okay. It's beautiful nonetheless. And the reason why I brought the bike on this trip was so I could cover a lot of ground in a lot of state parks in a short period of time. Hiking's great, but this will allow me to get around a a little bit more and cover some ground. Look through here, this is really pretty. This part of the trail has brought me closer to the lake. It's still pretty chilly out here, even though the temperatures have warmed up well above freezing. It's the damp air in here, being next to the lake, and that dampness makes it feel a lot cooler. But because I'm cycling, I'm generating a little bit of heat, so I'm comfortable. One can imagine what this is like in the summer when it is hot and steamy and full of bugs. Not an issue today. It is so nice to be able to ride out here on the trail in the middle of winter without any snow. I've had enough of the snow for now. Maybe once I get home I'll be ready for another big one, but for the moment I'm out of the snow and the cold. I've come around to another view of the lake. This looks like a little bit of a cliff here. Let's take a look. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, 20 feet up. Great view. I'm very happy the weather turned out today. Somewhere in there are some very large bass and other fish. Most of the trails back home have been swept clear by the winter winds, and so all the debris that has fallen down is gone. Here, we'll have quite as strong winds, especially in the forest, and there's still a lot on the ground, a lot of roots and branches that are hidden under the leaves, but not too bad. Look what I found. It's an armadillo. I read they were out here, but I really didn't believe it. Sure enough, look at that. There are also alligators in the lake. I don't think so in January, at least not a threat. But look, the armadillos are not an urban legend. They're really here. I was about ready to come barreling through this beautiful section of the trail when all of a sudden I spotted this guy down here. I'm glad I didn't. I would have scared him off. He looks like he can move pretty fast. Actually, he's getting pretty close. He doesn't seem scared at all, but why should he? He's the one that has the armor. I'm gonna try to see if I can get a little closer. And then I'll do this ride through this section of the trail as I had planned. This particular area has a lot of moss up in the trees, and with the sunlight, it's really quite beautiful. Very nice. So far, he doesn't seem to mind I'm here. It looks like he's just too busy foraging there in the grass. I'm not sure how armadillos got here. I don't believe they're native to South Carolina, that's for sure. Maybe they are, I don't know, I'll have to look it up. I don't know about you, but that's certainly something I don't see every day. All right, well, we're gonna let him be. I think that's all for the Armadillo channel at the moment. I really got a chuckle out of that when I read it, and I thought, yeah, right, I'm gonna see an armadillo. Have as good a chance of seeing an alligator as an armadillo. Well, who knows? Maybe the gators are out too. I better be on the lookout. And now for the scene that I was going to add until we were interrupted by the armadillo. Well, that was pretty, although a very quick ride past all those trees. with no momentum going uphill, but I can just slip into the real low gear here, and not too bad. Just work myself up the hill. Well, what else are we going to see out on the trail? You never know. A little depression over there. Wonder if we're getting close to the sinkholes. As long as the sinkhole doesn't open up while I'm here.
Here you go, some bonus footage. Second armadillo sighting. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Yeah, I'm right here, buddy. Now he hops through the woods like you weren't right next to me and you weren't scared. Bye.
2 miles. That's all I've covered. Wow. We've done all that in just 2 miles. I've got another 5 to go. Okay. Well, we've had a lot of adventures so far. Let's see what awaits in the next 5. Well, if I do come across an alligator, at least I have a chance of getting away from him with some speed. I don't think there are alligators up here in the woods, though.
The pine cones here look like little armadillos. It's large on the screen, but they're tiny.
Beautiful. Well, here we are. 3 miles. Let's see what we find on the next mile or 2. Wow. Well, blue trail. I thought I was on the blue trail, but apparently not. It goes that direction. So, I must be getting close to the other side, where the other campground is. As I recall from the map, I didn't bring it with me. Well, we'll find out. At some point we will. I think I see a road down there. Yeah, even though the blue trail went that way, here's another blue diamond. I don't know. I'm just following the trail. Alright, the Limestone Nature Trail, I believe, is the one that has the sinkhole in it. Oh, and over there is a big open area. We'll check them both out. Let's do the trail first.
Some interesting sights back here, though. It looks like rings in the tree, doesn't it?
Ooh, look at this. I don't know if this is a sinkhole or if this is an inlet. It's a cool little bridge, though.
I do believe in the distance that's I-95. It's quite a long trek across Lake Marion, and I came over at night. But it is a pretty ride during the day if you come through South Carolina on I-95. But you sure don't see this from the highway. This is what's amazing as you travel. You go past so many different places on the highway and don't realize that areas like this exist unless you stop.
This is like walking through the enchanted forest. This thing goes way back here. And I just left the bike sitting at the bridge. I think I need to go back and get that. Whew. It was a good little run down the trail. I have not seen anybody out here except one cyclist when I was taking some video of the at the little cliff area. Other than that, I've been out here pretty much all on my own. But I'm not going to leave the bicycle there unattended for too long, that's for sure. This is definitely not a trail to ride on. I mean, you could very slowly, but I'm not. I did not feel that bridge was wide enough to get the bike through, but I was able to walk it across okay, so I'll just hike a bike through here. And we'll try again and see the sinkhole, the really big one, at least that's on the map.
It feels like the map distances don't match with the trail, and the map scale feels off in places too. Then there are the trailblazes, or lack of them in crucial places.
Well, this one's got me stumped. On the map it was a little out and back with a loop at the end of it, but here I am at a road. Yeah, not too sure. This is a packed dirt road over here, goes to pavement over here. So I may be out of the park at this point. I'm not quite sure. Maybe the sinkhole's on the other side. Maybe the trail goes to the other side of the road. That's not much of a loop. These are cool plants. Well, I haven't seen any armadillos back in here, and maybe there's a good reason why. They don't follow the blazes this far either. It is a trail because somebody bothered to cut through the giant tree. Woods here are fairly thick. Not a well-marked trail, and I've had to do some guessing. I have not seen any green blazes for a while, but this certainly looks like a depression, and I'm going to call it a sinkhole. How about you? As to where the trail leads, I'm not sure. But that's definitely much lower, and look, there are things growing in it, which according to the sinkhole information, there's water underneath there, and the water is taking care of the plants. Well, there's some green paint on that tree up there, so I take it I'm still on the trail. This is not how it was marked on the map. Well, it was not marked around that curve and up to that road, but I followed another path that kind of looked like a trail, and sure enough, green blaze, I'm back on it. And there's a nice little bridge. Wow. They put benches on the trail that goes way off into the woods, but this one is really out there. There are no benches back in here. That's okay. These pine cones are much larger. Does that mean the armadillos are larger here too? That could be scary. So here's that area I was looking at from the other side. I mean, it does go down on this side and up on the other side. But if you look, I don't know, sinkhole or creek bed? You decide. Maybe it's a sinkhole with water in it. I guess they figure a lot of people don't come back this far because instead of the nice metal green blazes, you have this little bit of worn out green paint. But it's green, so let's continue.
Oh, well, thank you very much. After sending me through the wilderness there and guessing a lot. Yeah, back to a real green blaze.
All right, moving again. Given my direction relative to the sun, I've made a loop. I'm going the other way now. I have to assume that that big depression area was a sinkhole. To me, it just looked like a creek bed, like any other creek bed I've seen in the woods. Well, I'm not a geologist. I just play one on TV.
Usually you go right past all the moss without looking at it. It's kind of interesting. Some interesting lichen growing out here in the woods. As I mentioned in some of the previous videos, I look for these so-called mini worlds.
The trail map said that this was less than a mile long. I don't know, but this part's flat. I can ride this a little bit at least. And look at this, it pops me up on the top of the hill, and I can look over that water from the little bridge that I crossed. That really was a picturesque little bridge. I think that was worth the price of admission right there. Oh, it does loop around. Yeah, there's the little bridge. Back to the other part of the park. Yeah, and there's a double green blaze there, meaning the trail goes that way and this way. But you can't see it coming from the other direction, so you have no idea that this is actually the trail. I guess you can figure it out. It's wide enough, and then if you see the bridge, you're good to go. Maybe another blaze or two. Yeah, that might be a good idea. The trailhead is next to a wide open day-use space with a long shoreline, large meadow, playground, and several shelters. And of course, no shortage of moss on the trees. Well, I didn't have to go through the woods to find an armadillo. There's the third sighting. Right out here in the open. Looks like he's sniffing for truffles. You know, you're getting your nose dirty. At least he's keeping his eyes closed. You know, for those big ears, he doesn't seem too frightened of me or anything else. I don't know what he's listening for, but it's certainly not predators. Of course, I guess if you carried around armor, you don't really care much, do you? Do armadillos have fur? I guess the answer is yes. There are others also enjoying this area. I've spotted perhaps the best picnic table in the park. What a great place to enjoy a meal or just hang out. I-95 is close, but amazingly, you can't hear the busy traffic on the bridges. This is a dam at the other end of the inlet with that cool little bridge on the Limestone Nature Trail. The birds seem to love it here.
I'm heading back to the table on the shoreline while the sun is still above the tree line. It's dropping early this time of year, so I'm making the most of this spot before moving on. I'm a few miles from the trailer, and I still want to find the sinkholes and get back before dark. But this place, it's calling for me to slow down a little and take it in for a while. Even though I'm starting to compete with time and daylight, the ride out feels comfortable and stressless. Finally, I'm heading for the sinkholes. No wonder the day use area was empty. It's closed for the season. Of course, you can access it from the trail like I did.
Well, silly me. If I wanted to see a sinkhole, I should have gone to the sinkhole trail. Duh. That's a heck of a tree planter. Well, if you're no good at golf, I think you could at least land a ball in this one. That's an easy hole-in-one.
Most of the surface here is clay, but underneath is limestone, which over time cracks as water slowly carves cavities and caves. And one day the ground above, which is the roof, collapses, and you get a sinkhole.
It's pretty deep. Even their barriers fell in. Looks like it possibly could go even deeper. Well, you'd have to work to dig yourself out of that hole. All right, Sinkhole Pond Nature Trail is not that very long on the map. That's what I said about the last one, right? I don't know if it's rideable, but let's try it. This one, we're looking at the orange blazes. I don't know if there are any more sinkholes down here, but that's kind of what we're looking for. Not for one to open up while I'm here, just one that's already available to view. Whoa! Yeah, it's a little rough through here.
After water and gravity creates a sinkhole, sometimes debris fills in, like stopping up a drain. Then the sinkhole can become a pond.
This trail has some painted blazes on the tree that are very faded. This particular trail looks pretty obvious though, but overall not too bad a trail. This appears to be one of the sinkholes that's filled with water. And so it is a little pond. A pond filled with algae. And the water backs up into the trees. All right, there's a good blaze. The trail continues. My guess is it starts looping back here. There's a good metal blaze.
With the leaves down, the trail is awash in amazing golden hour light.
Yeah, definitely a footbridge. Not for riding. That's the loop. Here we are at the sinkhole that we saw by the road. Well, actually, this is a second one. Let's take a quick look. This one's small, but really deep. Can't even really see. There's a rock down there, and it's dark, and the camera wants to focus on things in front of it. That's a real pit. That just drops straight down. I'd say that's a good 20-25 feet straight down to where I can see. I mean, it may be deeper than that. Down the road behind me is the other campground, Lakeshore Campground, and that has over 100 spaces in there. They're all together, and if you'd like to take a look at that and a full view of Cypress View Campground where I'm staying, check out GPS 2, and I'll have video there of a ride through of both so that you can get a good look at the campsites and see which ones are closest to the lake. Well, that's about it for trails. I'm not going to try to do the rest of the bike loop. That would be another 3 miles or so. I'm just going to take the road out and ride it back up to my campground because that is a fair distance away from here. They're split. I don't know how far apart they are. Maybe 2 miles? I don't know. I'll check it out. But anyway, I've got a little bit of a ride to go back. It's after 4 p.m. now. Still daylight down here. I'm further south, so sunset is much later than up in DC. Yesterday, I'd say the sun went down 5:30, something like that. So I have another hour of good daylight. I certainly don't need that to ride back. So let's ride back.
There are deer near the road crossing sign.
Yeah, they just came across the road. There's always somebody watching you from the woods.
There's still lots of light at camp, enough to see the evidence of the winter weather I drove through yesterday.
I got a pretty good coating of salt going down the road.
I know, you can't wash your car or trailer at a campsite, but they may get a short spray to knock off some of the big stuff. Rain is forecast tomorrow to hopefully take care of the rest as I head down the road.
Always helpful to have the obvious stated.
Squirrels are everywhere, and these are super fast, always in motion. Very hard to get a decent camera shot of them. One or two have paused high up in the trees. Then there's this woodpecker hanging upside down. The moss is backlit for most of the day, but now it's showing daylight is short. And sure enough, the sun is down moments later. I'm taking one last quick ride to check out the cottages past the visitor center, including the ones over the water. Pro tip, beware of vultures. They are vacant since it's January, so this is a great time to check them out and take a quick peek. Well, charcoal doesn't burn very well in water. Very scenic. Summer insects aside, this could be a great vacation spot. good night from the Palmetto State. After a good rest, it's back on the road as I head to Florida, but not before driving through the park one last time. I enjoyed my stay here, a great accidental visit, as I had planned to take highways west to avoid I-95, but winter weather sent me south to here. It was really nice riding through the park, and if you happen to find yourself in South Carolina looking for an overnight stay or longer, it's conveniently located next to I-95 without feeling like you're next to the highway. I discovered the secret of the giant giraffe. It belongs to a tavern and grill. Well, perhaps another time. Thanks for watching, and see you next time as we follow GPS to Florida.